Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kieran. I help people using a spiritual perspective. Today, I want to talk about your life and whether or not it sucks. I'm probably going to title this video, Watch This Video If Your Life Sucks. So if you're here, if you're watching me in this flannel shirt talking about life sucking, you're probably in the right place. So when our life sucks, I am talking about the aspects that are not desirable. I'm talking about the things that we would wish we could change, but for whatever reason, we cannot. This could be lack of money, lack of stability, no romantic prospects, breakups, heartaches, loss of jobs, loss of loved ones, things going wrong, things breaking, health issues, whatever you can imagine that could make your life suck within the perception of suckiness. That is what I'm talking about. I am talking about your life and things not going the way that you plan them to go. And I want to talk about why that's a good thing, why it's a beautiful thing actually. And I do mean the word beautiful, because that is a word that has a connotation to it that implies tragedy. Beauty is something that is not forever. A garden, a flower, beautiful because it does not last forever. Seasons are often beautiful because they change. People are beautiful because they evolve, they grow. Things that are beautiful usually do not stay the same for its entire longevity. So therefore, why should our lives? There's this concept, especially within spirituality, especially with the New Age spirituality, that our lives must be filled with positivity, butterflies, gumdrops, cotton candy, love, amazingness, beauty, happiness, peace. And that is part of it. That is part of it. But what we don't express, what we don't accept, is things going wrong. Bad things happening. Tragedies. Struggles, obstacles. We see them as a sign that it's our fault that they're there. We blame ourselves. And this is a prevalent idea within the spiritual community, is that, and because of the law of attraction, we somehow are responsible for everything that goes on in the external world. And that's a myth. Certainly there's some truth to that, just like there's some truth to everything. There's some truth that Hitler was a good leader. Right? It's not, obviously not the whole picture there, but there's some truth to that. Not a lot, but there's truth to many different types of things. And yes, there is truth to the idea that on the outside, there is a reflection of what could be on the inside. But not in every instance, and not all the time, not with everything. And that is no more true than this idea that our life sucks. Because it escapes the possibility, it escapes the wisdom that your life was supposed to be this planned out thing. It was supposed to be this amazing, miraculous, easy to go journey. That it was never supposed to suck, that it was never supposed to be difficult, that you were never supposed to be broke or going through a hard time or dealing with stress or having difficulty accepting a situation. That's not the life I know. That's not the life that I've seen. That's not the life that I've studied in history. Life is fraught with ups and downs and difficulties, and tragedies and painful moments, and happy moments, and beautiful things to happen and occur, and miracles, and all sorts of wonderful absolutions. However, when you feel like your life is not going to plan, when you feel like everything hasn't worked, and that you fundamentally feel useless, like a loser, like you suck. I've experienced this many times. It's not your fault. The suffering occurs when what is happening is deemed to not supposed to be happening. There's this word supposed. And often what happens in our mind is these little words. We don't really pay attention to them, but they're there. Should. Should is a big one. I should be at this place. I should be here already. I should have this. I should be in love. I should have this relationship. I should be with my partner. I should be wealthy, I should be successful, my music should have taken off by now, I should have more followers, I should. Thoughts that come into my brain, thoughts that come into your brain, thoughts that come into everybody's brain. This idea should. And the suffering happens when you are no longer in this present experience. And I don't mean this quite literally. I'm not even talking about it in the way that Eckhart Tolle might talk about it. I'm talking about it in the way that if you are not at peace with the way your life is now, then in the future, you probably won't be at peace either. There's lots of extenuating circumstances, of course. I don't mean to make small of people who are going through an incredible amount of suffering, who have just been raped or hurt or injured or lost their home or homeless. I don't want to belittle that sort of experience. But in an everyday life, in an everyday situation, when we talk about our life sucking, it's because we feel it shouldn't look the way that it does. And that causes the suffering. That causes the feelings of a loser, the feelings of inadequacy, the feelings of insecurity. Because you're immediately saying to yourself with this word should, that this that's happening is not my experience. This is not for me. This is something else. And if it's something else, you can't accept it. You can't live through it. You can't breathe. It becomes a goal of leaving this situation to go to another. But we forget that even people in Hawaii and the beautiful islands of the Bahamas, tropical places off of South America, people are depressed there too. The rich are depressed, the poor are depressed, the middle class are depressed. Depression does not have a valued system of who and who not it will affect. It applies to everybody. And our idea of our life sucking happens to every single person. It can anyway, regardless of what what your life looks like. So this idea that your life is not where it's supposed to be is harmful. And the idea that the negativity that you're experiencing in your life is not justified is harmful. Because it is absolutely justified. There are real legitimate things going on inside your life, and it might help you just for a moment to stop trying to make it positive and to accept the fact that yes, your life sucks, and that's awesome because it was never supposed to be amazing all the time. If life was like the idea of heaven, then it would be boring. If humans lived forever, we wouldn't do anything. We wouldn't value life because we wouldn't have death to compare it to. If your life was easy, you would never grow. If you weren't broke at one point, you wouldn't pursue this. If you weren't struggling with a breakup or the loss of a loved one, you wouldn't appreciate something else, something greater, something deeper. You wouldn't become the person that you are today. So this idea that your life is wrong, that you're wrong, is the only thing that's wrong. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with the way that things are going on the outside. We judge that by the way that we feel. And the way that we feel can be a dangerous thing. But as for our life, as for the way it looks, there's nothing wrong with it. There's something wrong, maybe, with our perception of how things are. And it doesn't mean to become this amazing, positive, supernatural, spiritual, vibed out, high vibrational human being. Nobody's expecting you to be that, nor should you be. Everybody has their own life and everybody has their own goals and ambitions. But when your life is not going towards the plans that you had in your mind, it's not a sign that you failed. It's a sign that your mind, that your ego, that your plans failed. It's a sign that your expectations were not in alignment. It's a sign that the things that you expected didn't come true. And this is an idea that has existed throughout time and history. You don't always get what you want. You're not supposed to get what you want all the time. That's crazy. So this idea of our life should not be looked down upon. We shouldn't discard ourselves, nor should we throw away our experience, even if it's negative. Because in some way, it's going to teach us something about ourselves. And ultimately, what I feel that thing that is being taught is an inner power, is a belief system that is no longer required to link to the outside. It's a belief system that we have for ourselves now. That we can rely on something greater and deeper than a political leader, sports team, friends, family, a guru online, tarot readings, the ideas that we believe, even our opinions. That there's something deeper and more meaningful to our lives that exists here, separate of whatever may be going on the outside. And there are plenty of reasons why your life may suck right now. But I urge you, for even a moment, to just feel like this shitty experience that you're going through is something that you could have possibly chosen for yourself. And that's a kind of strange way to look at it sometimes, and we forget that. But if you did for a second, maybe you just believe that, well, whatever's happening is happening, and it's already happening, and maybe possibly because it's happening, I could have chosen this experience, or at least I'm in this experience, so there's no other explanation for it other than that it's happening to me. There's this particular situation happening to me, and I exist within this situation, and that because it exists, it should be happening. Different people experience different things, and for whatever reason, this experience is my experience. However painful and dark and scary it is, this, for whatever reason, is my experience. And within that wisdom, within that knowledge, we can sit back and we can say to ourselves, well, fine. My life sucks at the moment. It's a shitty time. I don't have money, I don't have this, things aren't going to plan, I don't have a roof over my head. Whatever it may be, from terrible to awful to tragic to only a little shitty, whatever it may be, entertain the possibility that it's not your fault, number one. Number two, you chose this experience, or you chose to, in some way, partake in this experience because it is happening to you after all. And three, that there isn't anything that you need to do about it. You don't need to change your shitty experience, because your shitty experience is shitty. Your shitty experience does not think you're shitty. You think your shitty experience is shitty. That's it. Life does not hate you. It does not think that you suck. We think that life sucks because sometimes life does suck, but not all the time, and not always, and not forever. So, with this in mind, allow yourself to breathe through whatever you're going through. It is a shitty experience, yes, but it's something that could never have not been this experience. It's not so, it wasn't supposed to be this amazing ride where everything was wonderful all the time. And if you feel like it's been dragging on for a long time, then that's the lesson that's trying to be given to you. If all you have is time and something has been going on for a long part of that time, then there's obviously something that time is trying to give you. If you've been single for a long time, there's something that's trying to be born out of that. Otherwise, you'd be in a relationship, because it's logical to just make sense that if you're semi-good looking, you can have some amount of social skills, you can probably get laid, get in a relationship, or find somebody to like you, and vice versa. So logically and statistically, mathematically, it makes sense that if you have not been in a relationship in a long time, you would find someone eventually. But if the eventually is lasting too long, then there's something going on. If your life is shitty for a long time, if there's shitty things that you're experiencing for a week, a month, 2 months, 3, 6, whatever is going on is directly related to your emotional reaction to that thing. How do you feel about it? Are you resisting this experience? Do you want to change it so badly you don't want to deal with anything in the present moment? What is going on in that experience? You ask yourself these questions. You admit that things suck, that they're shitty. You ask yourself, well, I can't do anything about 80% of it, but I could do something about the 20%. I could do something about the way I'm reacting to it. And that's really all we can do. A lot of the time is just, how can we, spend the time that we feel shitty about our lives? And with that acceptance, things start to get better because the suffering occurs once we feel that we should not be in this experience. That's when suffering occurs. That's when it's prolonged. Otherwise, it's just a temporary shitty situation, but we make the mistake of thinking we don't deserve this shitty experience. But if we deserve good things, and we feel we deserve good things, then do we not also deserve bad things? Does every human only deserve good things to happen to them all the time, always? That's an insane way of thinking. That's a naive way of thinking, to believe that we deserve all of the good and none of the bad. Because we get what we want. Sometimes we don't get what we want, but we get what we need. A lot of the time we get what we need. And if you're spiritual and you understand that concept to some degree, then you'll understand that the reality that you're going through, the shitty situations, you're getting something out of it. I've gotten plenty of terrible lessons out of things, terrible situations, and for whatever reason I came out of them a stronger, better person. Doesn't mean that everything was fixed in my life. It just means that the situations that I went through served a purpose. So if you feel that your life is shitty right now, that's fine. That's okay. It's not supposed to be another kind of way. You don't have control over the way that everything in your life goes. The plans and the ideas that you had for your life are not going to match up. There's this quote. It's a wartime quote. I don't know who said it. But it was something along the lines of, no plan survives the first contact with the enemy. Yeah, that's true. It's the same thing of life. All of your plans and your schemes and your ideas and your beliefs and your opinions are going to change. They're going to go through transformations. They're going to be dropped, picked up, dead, reborn, and so on and so on. So your life is supposed to suck at the moment if it sucks, and that's great news. Stop trying to make it a positive experience, people. It's not supposed to be. You're supposed to get something out of it. And maybe you'll get a positive experience out of it, a lesson, a beautiful blessing, whatever it may be. But don't blame yourself. Don't think that you did anything wrong. You're not supposed to have wonderful, happy, awesome times every single day. That's not supposed to happen. It never has happened. It never will. This is human history. This is the world we live in. Things happen. The best we can do is breathe through them and see how our reactions are to the things that are going on. Because that's your responsibility, that's your power, that's your own inner world, your own imagination, your own strength. And rely on that for yourself, because that's yours and nobody can take that away from you. Okay guys, see you later.